When you're looking to plan a budget build, you're often looking at something like a used RTX 3070, but what if you don't have to go used?
When there's a new option like the RTX 5050, it may sound like, well, not so appealing compared to a 3070 level card, but in today's video, we're about to show you guys the difference between the two and if you should go new or used after a word from today's sponsor.
If you've ever had an idea for a website or tool and just thought to yourself, I don't know how to code that, then you need to check out today's video sponsor GoDaddy and their Aero AI Builder. With Aero AI Builder, you just describe what you want in plain English, and you get a working website, app, or online experience. No coding, no templates to dig through, you just tell it what you're trying to build and it gets you there in minutes instead of weeks. This is especially cool for PC enthusiasts and creators. Whether you want a website for your custom PC business, a landing page for a project, or a showcase for your gaming setup, you can start with a simple prompt and have something functional almost immediately. And you're not locked into the first result either. You can keep chatting with Aero to refine it. You can change the colors, update the layout, add new sections, or tweak the content until it matches exactly what you had in mind. Or if you see a website you really like, you can simply upload a screenshot or paste the link, and Aero AI Builder will generate something inspired by that style as a starting point. It's a really easy way to get the look you're after without having to build everything yourself. Every build is SEO ready for search engines like Google and AEO ready for AI search tools like ChatGPT and Perplexity, helping people discover your site from day one. If you've got an idea you've been putting off because building a website seems too complicated, click the link in the description down below or scan the QR code to start using GoDaddy's Aero AI Builder with 50 free credits. Big thanks to GoDaddy for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to it.
So on the table here we have two graphics cards. This guy right here is the RTX 5050, it's a gigabyte model, and then over in front of Matt we have a nice PNY RTX 3070, and the fun part is they both have 8 gigs of VRAM.
Now the graphics card that I have right here is our used GPU option, the RTX 3070. They go used for around $230 to $240. That's normally the best price to find one of these cards, and there's a ton you can choose from. Ours is a 3-fan model here from PNY, but you can buy a bunch of different models from eBay when you do some deal hunting.
And obviously with the 5050, this is a new current gen card, so you're not exactly buying these used. Every so often they pop up on eBay and Facebook and whatnot, but honestly they're borderline MSRP, so you might as well buy new. But let's talk about the actual specs and the origins of both of these cards.
So once again, the RTX 3070 we have right here is a PNY Accelerate model. This GPU released in October of 2020 with an MSRP of $499, a total power consumption of 220 watts with 8 gigs of GDDR6 VRAM. It is a PCI Gen 4x16 card. Our specific model comes with 3 display ports and 1 HDMI for video out, and for power it requires 2 8-pins.
Now the new graphics card that I have in front of me is the RTX 5050 8 gig from Gigabyte, and the specific model is the Gaming 3-fan, and this card's pretty new. It released July 1st of 2025 with an MSRP of $249. It has only 130 watt max power consumption. It has 8 gigs of GDDR6, and this one's actually PCIe Gen 5x8, and the specific model that we have actually has a slightly different port layout. We have 2 DisplayPort and 2 HDMI, and then we do have an 8-pin for power that's in an odd spot. That's one thing we've always noticed with these cards.
Now in typical Tozy Rose benchmark style, we're going to show you guys 2 ways to test these GPUs. One is our Let's Play benchmark, and the other is some side-by-side testing. We're going to switch it up a little bit and have Jackson go over the side-by-side benchmarks first so you guys can see the raw apples-to-apples performance for these 2 GPUs, and then we're going to save the best for last. We're going to do our Let's Play benchmarks. We can see us doing some live-action gameplay to get some real-life scenarios of both of these GPUs to see, is going used and saving some money actually worth it? Are you getting better price performance that way? Or maybe people are just sleeping on the new card because it's been hated since it was launched? Well, before we find out those results, go and talk about the test bench we will be using for these 2 GPUs.
So for our mid-range test bench, which is actually an open-air test bench, we have the Ryzen 5 9600X 6-core 12-thread, and our 9600X is being cooled by the ID Cooling SC214 XT in white. And for our motherboard, we have the ASRock B850 Steel Legend Wi-Fi. And for RAM, we have 32 gigs of silicon-powered DDR5 at 6000 MHz, and it's CL30. For our storage, we have a Timetech SSD. It's a 1TB Gen 4 NVMe. And powering this test bench is our MSI Mag A850GL, which is fully modular and 80+ gold. So now that we talked about our 9600X test bench and our GPUs, let's pair them together and do some benchmarking. So before Matt and I have some fun playing some actual Let's Play benchmarks, let's talk about the actual built-in benchmarks, our stable test results so we can really see the facts. So firstly, we ran 3D Mark Time Spy, and the RTX 3070, I gotta say, did a lot better than I thought it would. We got a total score of 12,981, with the GPU getting a score of 13,697 and the CPU getting 10,108. That's a pretty good score for the RTX 3070. And then the RTX 5050 still did pretty good. We got a total score of 10,626, with the CPU actually dropping to 9,537 and the GPU getting a score of 10,402. My only guess on why the CPU dropped is either just A, it's coincidence, or B, that 5050 running in Gen 5 maybe required some more CPU horsepower, or maybe took away from the CPU. I'm not really totally sure, honestly. But what we do know is that the RTX 3070 got almost 3,000 more points than 3D Mark Time Spy. Now, of course, those numbers may not mean much to some of y'all, so let's go to FPS numbers. First, we ran CS2 at 1080p low settings, and we got some pretty nice FPS for both. For the 3070, we got an average of 678 FPS and a minimum of 209 FPS, but then the 5050 wasn't too far behind. We got an average of 572 with a minimum of 159, so there was a over 100 FPS gap. Because this game has no upscaling or anything really, we're basically just testing raw horsepower. And speaking of, upscaling and raw horsepower, we actually did decide to run a AAA title, Assassin's Creed Shadows at 1080p, and we ran native DLSS 1080p. So once again, no upscaling. We will be saving that for when Matt and I do some Let's Play benchmark, and we just want to see raw numbers here first. We were able to get on the 3070 an average of 55 FPS, a minimum of 32 FPS, and a max FPS of 68. Now the 5050 fell once again a little behind. We got an average of 46 FPS, a minimum of 22 FPS, and a maximum of 57 FPS. So once again, we are seeing that gap. We're seeing about a 15 to 30% FPS gap, just depending on the game and depending on if you use upscaling or not. And that's going to be kind of the moral of the story with this benchmark run that you're about to see, is the fact that the RTX 5050 in raw horsepower is definitely a lower end card, but it also released at a much lower MSRP. It uses a lot less wattage, and at the end of the day, with modern day upscaling like DLSS, you can make the 5050 run as good, if not better, than the 3070, especially when it comes to the newer gen ray tracing performance as well. Let's go ahead and go to future Matt and Jack and play some video games.
All right, guys, it is time for some Let's Play benchmarks, and we are currently in Fortnite running the following settings. We are at 1080p performance mode on epic view distance and low textures. We are going performance settings, baby, and we're going to do the Sinister Strip. But obviously, we always tell people with Fortnite, it's a very CPU-bound game, but even though it is CPU-bound, we have noticed that GPU does have an impact. It's just your mileage may vary depending on what CPU you pair with either one of these GPUs, but we think the 9600X is a reasonable option for those getting the DDR5 and using either one of these graphics cards.
Yep, and so far we know the 5050 overall, in terms of just raw horsepower, has been a slightly worse card. I mean, it makes sense because the 3070 was $500 on launch, which I forgot.
It's expensive.
Pretty insane, but then the 5050 is $249.99 in MSRP, and that's pretty much still what it is. So it's not like it's like an apples to apples comparison, but it's cool to see how far NVIDIA's entry-level GPUs came compared to their mid-range GPU just 2 generations before. Uh-oh. Real gamer?
I don't think it's real
Bush?
Gamer. Bro, sincerely, you're dead. And yeah, good FPS numbers, 300 plus FPS. Yeah. 1% lows in the 100s, pretty freaking smooth. No like stutter or load-in issue. So pretty good. I'm gonna keep it somewhat in the same area so we don't have a major difference when we swap GPUs. But usage-wise, I mean, we're on performance mode Fortnite. It uses like no VRAM, 2 gigs of VRAM. The VRAM amount, both these cards are the same, so really I have no worry either way on that one. And yeah, it depends what CPU you pair with this thing, but you're gonna get pretty good results with either card. It's just a matter of used versus new. Hello, Weenie. Oh, I want a chili dog. I'm gonna gobble on that chili dog.
I'd be curious to see what the 3070, we're pulling like only 90-ish watts on the 5050. This card almost doesn't even need external power.
It's very close.
Our 3070 should be almost, it can do up to double the power, but we'll see if it actually does in Fortnite.
Oh, there's one more. Oh!
Whoa, jump scare. Dang, 2 pump.
I want you. I got a Sprite. Let's go. All right, we're gonna stop it right there. We got an average of 349 FPS, so the 1% low 167. Let's see what the good old 3070 can do. All right, guys, we're on the 3070 in Fortnite, and once again, we're gonna go to Sinister Strip. I will verify settings for you guys. We are still on the same settings. There you go. In theory, we shouldn't see a major difference between the two here, but we could. 3070 in theory could get some higher highs on average, and we'll see what the 1% lows look like, but last time we got some pretty good FPS.
Yeah, it was pretty high. I'll pull those up to refresh our memory. We got 349 for our average before, and the 1% low was 167.
Fortnite's really weird because once you land,
yeah, you get a good amount more.
It normally goes up a bit.
There we go. Yeah, that's a little closer.
Yeah, very similar.
All right. Well, we'll run it and we'll see. But yeah, Fortnite's, it's a more CPU-bound game. The 9600X is probably one of the best bang for buck CPUs for Fortnite specifically. So the GPUs really aren't doing a ton for this game at performance settings, especially. If we were in like, you know, medium settings, we could probably see the 3070 take off a little more, but right now, it almost looks the same or less.
All right, come here, you.
A Sprite. Whoa, you come back from the dead or something? Oh. Grants cloak for a duration upon reloading.
Yo, look at these.
Tune in the space boots.
Oh.
Wait, is that, are they doing something with Apex Legends right now? Is that right?
Right.
Well, because that makes me think of that one new chick. She has like wheels, and when she slides, she like slides.
Oh, wait a minute, I see an enemy.
They're heavy.
Whoa!
Oh my god, you shouldn't have pushed that guy.
I shouldn't have pushed that guy. I killed absolutely immediately, and this is a little bit lower, isn't it? So 329, 1% level 116. It was a little bit shorter because I died really quickly, but...
The whole time, I mean, I was watching and it wasn't really coming up, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah. Could be game optimization for 50 series and maybe like 50 series GPU, but it's such a small difference in the grand scheme of things. So interesting data. Let's switch it up to some Forza 6 and see a more GPU-bound game what the difference is like.
All right, guys, we were playing some Forza Horizon 6, and this may be the one game that I actually have included with upscaling, and we're gonna really test out the upscaling because we're gonna add frame gen too. But we're of course on the RTX 5050, which is our newer card. And we're currently running this game at 1920 by 1080p, and we're using the high plus RT settings. So we do have ray tracing on. Okay, I went too far. And this is the first one where we actually are using DLSS with upscaling. So we're unbalanced right now, super res. No frame gen at the moment. I'll go ahead and restart this. And as you can see, the game looks great, and it's very smooth. I mean, this is a game that you could run at 1440p, especially with this upscaling.
Yep, VRAM-wise, we're about 6.8 gigs of VRAM, so we're not maxing that out. So there is the extra VRAM buffer to go 1440p. That's obviously the biggest concern with an 8 gig card, but realistically, running slightly lower details, or even in a game like this that doesn't need VRAM, it'll work just fine.
Yeah, no, it's looking pretty good. Curious to see what the 3070 will do. And then one thing that we do know that's going to be kind of fun to see is the 3070 actually doesn't support DLSS frame gen. You may be able to do it with FSR if they give you that option. That's what you end up having to do with a lot of the older cards if you want frame gen, is you have to actually run AMD's upscaler and then run frame gen. That's kind of ironic, isn't it?
Love NVIDIA for that one.
Okay, so we can pretty safely say that without any frame gen, we're getting average of 114, 1% low of 88. Let's try to do some frame gen. It's probably gonna give us options to go all the way up to like 4x, but we'll just double it. We don't want to make the 3070 look too bad, right? Let's do 2 times. And we got NVIDIA Reflex low latency on as well.
Was it 78, you said?
114 and 87.
87.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
We're in some numbers now. And you know, we'll say the game still looks really good. That's one nice thing about really, the newer the card, usually the better the frame gen and upscaling both look together. You don't get like a ton of like the Vaseline effect, not super input lag or anything crazy like that. So, you know, it's one of those things where this is something to weigh when you're looking at, you know, a used card with no warranty, higher wattage usage. You have no clue how long it's going to last because who knows how hard it was ran by the previous owner, but you do save some money with the 3070. You do get more raw horsepower. So, I don't know, it's something, that's why we do these videos, that you guys can decide. But let's go ahead and test out the 3070 now. All right, guys, we're back in Forza 6 on the 3070. Matt's pulling up what we had last time. We got our averages going. So once again, we're still at high plus RT and 1080p, and we are using balanced DLSS.
All right, last time we got an average of 114 with a 1% low of 87. This is an improvement.
Yeah, even with upscaling. So it's pretty crazy. I'm gonna be honest, going into this, I genuinely thought that the 5050 was, I thought it'd only be maybe 5 to 10% worse. But after doing a little more research, because before I just watched someone else's benchmark, it seems like it's more of an average of like 15 to like 20-ish%, which that's a pretty decent difference. And the thing is, at one point, the 3070 used, they were like, what, 200-ish even?
Yeah.
They've gone back up a little bit. Now you're looking at more like, I wanna say, what, 230 again? 240?
I know that's the popular like setup in the community. It's not an issue for us, especially with the games we play, but they're like the 3070, if it had 12 gigs of VRAM, like it has more power than the VRAM it has. It's one of those where it's the opposite of these other cards we see. If it was like a 12 gig card, it would be like the only option people would recommend use. And it would probably be overpriced, honestly, with that much VRAM.
I'm curious to see, let's see, can we even do any frame gen if we go with FSR? I don't know if they'll give it to us. Because we know we have nothing here. So let's just see.
I don't think I have any.
No. So that is, it's something to keep in mind. If I know most of you at home are probably going to be like, I don't want to run any, frame gen, so you just really don't care. It's just for the people who do think about that stuff. That is something to think about. You don't get the option to have frame gen in quite a few titles. Hey, we've gotten some pretty good results here with both of these cards. Let's go ahead and talk about our results and kind of see which card you should buy if you're on a budget. So you guys saw in pretty much every scenario, which is pretty surprising, besides Fortnite actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the 3070 was a decent amount better. Now there's gonna be some games out there where it may go back and forth, but for the most part, the 5050 cost a little bit more money and it gets a little less FPS.
And the 3070, again, being a used market option means you have a lot of different options to choose from, ranging from different models, price points, and things like that. But if you're looking at the $230 to $240 mark, we think in terms of raw performance for your dollar, you're getting much more bang for buck with the 3070, but again, just raw performance isn't the entire story here. The 5050 gets all those really nice DLSS 4 and 4.5 features, frame generation and games that support it, which makes this card more appealing for those newer games potentially because you have higher ceiling with those technologies. But again, it's an interesting debate here. They are in different price tiers, but they are closer than you would think when you factor in those technologies. And we want to hear from you guys. Which one of these GPUs would you buy? Would you go used with the 3070 and maybe get more raw performance, or are you in favor of modern DLSS technologies with the 5050? I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below.
And as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you check out our other 2 YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/toastybros. And do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
See you guys in the next one. Goodbye.
Now make sure to check out PCBros.tech because these are both cards that we use quite often over there. We use our expertise, guys.
And this GPU in particular is actually going to be in a PCBros.tech PC that we'll probably build over on twitch.tv/toastybros. That was a double plug right there, guys. You can buy a PC today at PC Bros. Use code ToastyBros on checkout. You will save 3% on your next purchase. See you guys later. Goodbye.